It was actually way cooler than I expected it to be.
Wow, this is very intuitive.
That was cool. Oh, I did it!
Unbelievable.
That was really fun, and that was a lot easier than I thought it would be.
Welcome to Upward with Transfer, where we tackle the challenges of our evolving workforce and how educators, governments, and industries are changing to keep up. We're dedicated to building effective pathways for workers and job seekers to get the skills they need to enter well-paying careers in high-growth industries. Our part in that is designing and distributing hands-on simulations that learners can use to explore new career options and develop core skills before entering an in-person vocational training program. Transfer simulations augment human educators, broadening their range of classroom possibilities without costly facilities build-outs or expensive equipment. I'm Jack Sislak, Editorial Director at Transfer, and your host for this episode. I'm joined by Ali Zachariah, VP of Creative at Transfer, and Tom Darling, Transfer's Director of Career Exploration and Product Market Fit, for an engaging deep dive into Transfer's augmented reality career exploration experience. Let's jump in. Ali, Tom, it's really great to have you both here. Let's just start really quickly with some intros. Ali, if you just go first, please tell us who you are and what you do here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alexandra Zachariah. Everybody calls me Ali, and I am the Vice President of Creative here at Transfer. I am super excited to tell you a little bit about our AR programming and also talk to Tom about career exploration. So thanks for having me.
Super great. And then, Tom.
My name is Tom Darling. I'm the Director of Career Exploration here at Transfer. So I get to listen to the market and hear what they say, hear what they need so that we can develop the absolute best experience for students.
Awesome. So as it stands right now, recent high school graduates and other job seekers aren't really training for some of sort of the most needed jobs in society because current career exploration methods just don't introduce them to jobs that are in the greatest demand. Instead, a lot of these students and even adult learners are encouraged to explore careers in a very vague, general way, and there's no real focus on the specific jobs that our society needs and are willing to pay for. That there are these well-paying jobs, family wage jobs, et cetera, that they could be looking into. I thought it'd be great to start with you, Tom. We want to dig into kind of our current career exploration methodologies out there in the world, what's working, what might not be, where we can go from here. So to start off, please just tell us what's up with career exploration right now, what is it, and what does it mean to both students in schools and other job seekers, whether they're recent grads or unemployed people. Take it away.
Sure. So career exploration right now is primarily constrained by time of the student to work on it, time of the facilitator to be able to teach it, to spend enough time with students. So there's a lot of wishes they'd love to do, but they're not able to accomplish because of the time constraints. So you usually have students that come in, their parents told them, hey, this is a career that's good for you, or they know about careers that they're interested in, or frankly, they're just not engaged. They don't see the relevance of it. So there's a big push in both K-12 as well as community colleges to try to expose students to careers that frankly didn't exist 10 years ago, but that they may not have heard of.
No, totally. Yeah, we have the robot doctor simulations that we talk so much about. Yeah, learning how to service these kind of things. Can you tell us a little bit about what people, you said that there's lots of wishes for these things. What are people looking for from career exploration based on your field research? What are you finding out there?
Sure. So I've talked to over 40 professionals so far that are in career exploration in a variety of ways. The main thing that they would love to see are overview of all of the industries or the career clusters. What are some of the occupations within that industry? And then, what's a day in the life of this occupation like?
Absolutely.
So that the student can really find, is this kind of what I want? And then
am I going to wake up every day and do this? Yeah.
Right. And then to say, all right, so I found something I really like. Well, what do I do now? So provide the next steps on, here's schools to go to. Here's an education pathway to go to. Here's potential careers and potential employers in your area so that the student can make a very informed choice by seeing everything that's available, or at least a broader variety of what's available.
Well, and they're not just like picking, throwing a dart at the board or just picking some job that, okay, it's a job.
Exactly. And a lot of the schools also conduct aptitude assessments or personality assessments. What do you like? What do you don't like? So that it can help guide them. But I still think the best way is just to explore and take a look.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, the immersive VR experience, gives people a much clearer, kind of view into what it might be like. And you mentioned this just now, the career pathway. So dig into that a little bit more, please, if you could. What's been coming up in these conversations as far as different approaches to developing career pathways?
Sure. So it's, and it depends upon the age level of the student. So if you're talking to a kid that's in sixth grade, let's just get you pointed in a general direction.
Yeah.
Once you hit ninth grade, they really want to start narrowing in so that they can take the appropriate education and find that education that's relevant because I need it for this job. So, if you're going to go on and want to become a doctor, you're going to need to have an honors diploma. Or, hey, you know what? I really like working on cars. Great. There's a CTE pathway for you.
Yeah.
So it's really helping to guide the student on the right education pathway, so that they can then move into the career that they want to move into.
Totally. And then they can be aware of the opportunities. Awesome. And so let's keep going along this path of inquiry. Share some insights with us as to what help might create a smoother pathway from, say, like school to job placement for those who may not be able to go to college after high school or at all.
Sure. So we're actually talking about or looking into describing a mixed experience between augmented reality and virtual reality. So one of the interesting things we heard back, and let's just take K-12 for example, they are very in favor of an augmented reality for a couple of things. One, because it's very engaging for the students. It's not just a typical computer-based or an app, but they can use it on their phones or their tablets. So they don't have to buy any additional equipment because cost obviously is always a concern.
Absolutely.
But they also said, we want hands-on experience. And so that's where they're interested in then using the VR. Say, hey, you're interested in culinary. Why don't you try out some of the culinary simulations and see, do I really like this?
Yeah.
So it's really helping the student to make a much more informed choice all the way around and throughout the entire process, so that when they self-select into a career, they know, I think this is really what I'm good for.
Awesome. Yeah, no, too many people, I think, find out too late, especially if you go to college, heavily in debt and you have to re-angle your whole thing. Versus what we're talking about here. So we touched on the AR technology, and we're going to pivot right now and just bring Allie into this conversation a little bit more and talk about how can we solve this disconnect using technology. Transfer's AR program offers a curated pathway from career exploration to job openings in high-demand fields like manufacturing. We really focused on that for this year. And so by creating this easy-to-follow pathway directly from AR to VR training, that lets us not only access sort of what jobs are needed through real data, which undergirds this whole experience, but also lets us better understand the people using it. And so, Allie, you are the brain behind this project, and we want to hear more from you. And just start simple for us, please, Allie. What is AR, augmented reality, which we've been talking about, and how does it work when people are like opening it up on their phones and stuff?
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that, Jack. And Tom, thank you for setting me up here. It's a really great space for me to be able to talk a little bit more about AR, augmented reality, and how it does work. AR is a technology that superimposes computer-generated images on a user's view of the real world and creates a composite view. So essentially, it's layering imagery on top of reality. And what's super cool about that is that it allows users to interact with real spaces in a unique way that's super engaging. So we wanted to take that capability of AR and really use it to highlight some of the key features of our overall training programming.
Right, and we'll dig a little more into that too. But I think the one I keep thinking about is Pokemon Go. That's the biggest one I can think of, where you're like walking around, looking through your phone, and you see, oh, there's a Pokemon. So let's drill down a little bit more into that. I don't want to steal your thunder because I have seen the experience. And we're a VR company. Why are we doing an AR experience? And then what is the experience when you're like looking through your phone and exploring these jobs?
Sure. So our AR experience really is honing in on telling a more bird's eye view vision for where training can go. So one of the top reasons for creating this AR experience is to showcase the entire classroom to career pathway in a super guided way that allows various learners to learn about well-paying jobs then takes them through the ways to discover training for those jobs, and
Cool.
ultimately shows them that these jobs really do exist in their states. So one of the big parts that we wanted to include in this was we wanted to make it super authentic. And so we focused on key states that are really interested in growing manufacturing within their state.
Right.
So everything you see in the experience as you're walking through it, from the actual job information, which highlights some of the components of what these jobs are beyond just their names, and shed some light onto.
Good start, yeah.
Yeah, we learned a lot of good things here. We actually,
Cool.
I think one of the jobs that we have in here is assembler, and
Right.
many people picture something like elves in a workshop. But the job is actually so much more interesting than that. Folks who do this job really are conductors of, massive fleets of robots that are putting together really cool pieces.
Yeah, I love that imagery. Yeah.
Yeah, so we wanted to really showcase this information. And one of the ways we did that with that part of the experience is really talking to some of the subject matter experts that we work with who both have led and taught training in those roles, as well as doing some extensive research. Then we wanted to give people a little sneak peek of our VR simulations. Nobody really believes our VR experiences until they see them for themselves. So we wanted to bring them into that environment and allow them to interact with those environments in real space, which is something that is quite unique to AR. And then also have a little bit of fun with folks by letting them try on some of the gear. We have a headset for machinist in there. You get to put on some safety glasses and, of course, take a photo and share it out with your social network if you so choose.
Right.
So there's...
Well, I just want to backtrack 1 second, too, when you're talking about these environments.
Yeah.
There's somewhere connected to this podcast, there's a QR code you can scan on your phone to get this experience. You can see it for yourself. But the environments, we're talking about like putting them into the workspace of where that job might take place.
That's correct. Yeah, they are 360 environments that you can use your phone as a portal to discover what they actually look like. Yeah, it is super fun.
Yeah, you're hanging out with the robots. You're on a fabrication floor, which, Tom, we were just talking about careers and stuff in high school. It's not the shop class of 30 years ago.
Absolutely. And that's also an impediment for folks getting into different industries because they have an antiquated view of what it's like.
Yeah. So cool. Yeah. What do we hope users will get out of this experience?
So I think what we're really looking to help people understand about these various jobs is that there are a tremendous amount of learning opportunities, and we are able to use this really fun and engaging environment to showcase the variety of tools that are will enable them to discover these career pathways. And also that showed them that there are companies that are really hiring for these jobs and what the demand and need are. Many of them are really important to the fabric of, our country and our workforce.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that we are enabling people to understand that the real data is out there. We're sharing salaries with these jobs and what the trajectories for those salaries are so they can visualize themselves and see a future for themselves within various career pathways.
And that's awesome. That's a huge piece of data that, people making job decisions, whether it's people in high school or who just got out of high school or people who are between jobs and need to figure out their next step, they need to know that. Maybe it's not your dream job, but it's a job you're interested in and you could do it for long enough. And you're like, oh, you know what? That it's not even a light at the end of the tunnel. It's a progressively brighter tunnel as I go through this journey.
I think one of the things people also tend to forget is that we do spend 4 years of our lives in college, if that is our choice. And a lot of these jobs within 4 years have a growth potential that will land you in a position where you have an exceptionally well-paying job. And you also are, leaving that 4 years with no debt. So
that's huge,
you're really placing yourself in a really great place. And if you do choose to go to college, it's an enabler that will allow you to pursue that college degree or that dream and have the experience to really stick with it and be a huge attribute to that industry.
Cool. No, awesome. And so speaking of industries, why did we focus on manufacturing for this AR experience?
So we focused on manufacturing because, as you mentioned, there is a huge need for people to go into manufacturing jobs within the country, but also because there's a wealth of opportunity for people to get high paying and high growth job opportunities that will help them build better futures for themselves. manufacturing has a very near and dear place in the heart of many Americans because we are a country that grew on manufacturing. And so I think that, it was a natural combination. We also had a great partnership with the Manufacturing Institute, which works to create awareness around manufacturing jobs throughout the entire United States. So it was a great way for us to really gain a lot of visibility, both for transfer, but also for the jobs that are available to people throughout the country.
Cool. And this just really ties in what we were talking about before with Tom here. And so let's talk a little bit about how the AR experience works with the VR experience for career exploration.
Sure. So the primary goal for career exploration is to really help people narrow down what they're looking at. And a lot of people that start something, be it at a community college, be it at high school, be it at a university, I'm going to change. Well, when you're at a university, your 4 years just went to 5. Community college, 2 to 3. So, I mean, you see how that becomes a snowball effect. So how can you narrow people in to 3 to 5 different options? Well, then you take the VR and that's when you can say, all right, I'm trying this occupation. I'm going to do this skill.
Yeah.
Is this something I like or not? Do I have a natural aptitude or not? And it just helps to people to really refine further their actual search and their selection.
Totally. Yeah. And Allie, if you have any more about the AR, definitely let's chat it up.
Sure. So AR from our standpoint was really a great pre-demo experience for our VR experience.
Oh, right.
It allows learners to explore careers in high growth industries from any sort of device. So that was a big pain point for many folks that Tom had done some research with, that putting on a VR headset may not always be an option. And if you have a smartphone, you can use our AR experience from anywhere and really get a little bit of a sneak preview into all the great training that we offer, but also a better understanding of what jobs are out there and how these trainings connect to those jobs, as well as the employers who are very much looking to fill the positions.
And then, especially if you're in one of these focus states where it's like, okay, so not only are you interested in this job, here's a training pathway. I will hook you up with this community college or this program or whatever. And then when you're done, you can go talk to this person and maybe get an interview for it. That would be just the ideal, what did you call it? Career pathway, Tom? That's the language we're using, right?
Yeah, career education pathway,
Career education pathway, right on. Now that we have sort of the background of what the career exploration sort of world looks like, both the state of now and what would be a good thing for the future. And then, Allie, we have this AR thing, this pre-demo experience, as you put it. So why is it more important than ever to tell young people and job seekers of all ages about opportunities in manufacturing, the skilled trades and stuff like that? Let's flip a coin. Allie, you go first this time. And then, Tom, I have another question. You can go first next time.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jack. So I think, having a focus on manufacturing jobs in the manufacturing industry is really important because it allows us a way to connect to an industry that is generally under-glamorized and offers a lot of really great opportunities. I think that, with the continued introduction of technology, it is going to continue to be an industry that a lot of really smart people will have a lot to contribute to and will continue to grow our country in a really great direction, regardless of, where they're located throughout the country or what their opportunities before they go into the workforce are.
And Tom, why don't you share sort of your side of that from all your field research and stuff?
Sure. So almost every industry is having a lot of trouble finding people. There just aren't enough people that want to get a job. We're in historically low unemployment. That doesn't look to change. What's interesting, and this statistic really stayed with me, is I met with the Indiana Manufacturers Association. And they said, we currently have 37,000 job openings in the state of Indiana.
Wow.
And Indiana's always been known as one of the larger manufacturing states. They said, there are 35,000 job seekers in Indiana. So even if all 35,000 of those people went into manufacturing, they would still be short by 2,000.
Wow.
So I just said, well, how are you going to overcome that?
What do you do?
Part of it is we're going to reach into K-12 and start building our pipeline there. Which I've heard from many industries. The semiconductor industry, which is recently getting just a lot of fanfare because of the CHIPS bill.
That's true.
From just about everywhere, people are worried about building the pipeline because the baby boomers are finally exiting the workforce, and now the subsequent generations aren't nearly as big. So Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, you just don't have the people to fill the spot.
Well, it's kind of a perfect storm, too, because, I mean, there was a lot of offshoring of manufacturing, and then there was also this overcorrection of like, well, you got to go to college. Any job you want to do, you got to go to college.
Correct.
And so not only were there fewer manufacturing jobs to go around, that was just like never put out there in high school as like a thing you might do or a thing that was cool. So now we have this combination of like people don't know about these job openings. They don't know what the jobs are. To your point, Al, you use they're very unglamorous.
Jack, I'm going to jump in here because I think the word is really underglamorized, because I think we glamorize a lot of industries that really aren't quite so glamorous. But here,
totally.
You kind of have the reverse. An entryway to becoming an engineer, a structural engineer, or any sort of engineer could be a machinist. And that leaves you out of high school, 4 years of great paying experience with a great set of skills, going into a college degree that could land you, the opportunity of your dreams. Yeah. So, quite frankly, I think that we are under glamorizing a lot of these jobs just because they aren't the traditional pathway.
100%. And so let's turn it over to Tom and then you, Allie, for this last part. What role do data and analytics play in creating classroom to career pathways for students and job seekers? And then how might we see this evolving in the future?
Sure. So a lot of what people look at when you say high wage, high growth, what is the overall growth rate of the occupation? What's the growth rate of the industry? But the key thing is to make that information and data relevant to the people that are looking at it. So if you have, let's say, a ninth grader, you're going to make $30,000 a year. They think they're just going to be rich beyond belief. I've had some of the counselors that I've talked with translated into like the game of life, So, here you're going to get married. Here you're going to have kids. Here's your job. But it's how do you make it relevant? Yeah. State of Texas, as part of their TEKS for career exploration, is how to read and interpret and analyze labor market information. So I think you're going to have more and more data available because you've got the internet at your fingertips. But it's also, let's explore, let's self-select. And then also adjust to make sure there's realistic expectations, because not everyone can be a famous YouTuber or a professional athlete. So,
vanishingly slim odds there, yeah.
Oh, I know. But hey, it's a good dream. You just need a plan B.
So, and Allie, let's talk a little bit more, because we were talking earlier about how all this data undergirds the AR experience. But so how else are we going to see data used in these career exploration journeys?
Sure. So one of the key things that we like to look at from a data perspective on the back end is mostly quantitative data. So we don't actually track data from individual users. We're not part of that game, and that's a good thing. However, what we are interested in finding out is the interest within specific states for specific jobs. And how we can help people perhaps have more interest in jobs that might be available, as well as sharing that data with students who may find that a career pathway is a better fit for them because the salary levels in a certain state are working out well. I think one of the key stats that was really interesting was that when we cross-compared a lot of these salaries to the average wage within the state, they were significantly higher than most people had expected. Nice. And I think that really changes minds a lot. We had an interesting use case where we had a bunch of folks who had been going through our headsets, our VR headsets, and they were trying out the electrical construction simulations that we offer, which were a part of another podcast episode. But we had a group of models who came for this photo shoot. And of the 6 people who were interested in, were previously interested in acting and modeling as careers, I think about 4 of them walked away discovering that they might want to become an electrician, because between the salaries that electricians make and the practical application and the fun experience they had in the training simulations, they were like, wow, I get to be a builder and make all this money. This might be something for me to pursue down the road. And it was just really interesting seeing 2 really opposing career paths connect in a unique way. I don't know if that's going to happen with everyone. However, I do think that there is something to having data go in both directions and being able to share information with both groups, not just folks on the back end who are planning the future of career force boards and things of that sort.
That's right, yeah. And hey, we are, I didn't say it before, but I'm saying it now, we are kind of coming to the end of our time together. And so is there anything that we didn't touch on here that you want to get off your chest regarding the AR experience, the career exploration journeys for people? I'm going to give you the floor. So Allie, why don't you start, and then Tom will hear final thoughts from you, and we'll say goodbye.
Well, thank you for that, Jack. Well, it's been a great conversation, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the way that technology can amplify the future of workforce development and get people excited about different opportunities and career paths that they may not have considered before, or they may reconsider at a later part in their life. So on that note, excited for the future, and thank you for including me in this conversation.
No, awesome. It was really great having you here. And yeah, Tom, what's up with you?
So what I like about what we're doing and how we're positioning our career exploration is not only listening to what the customer needs, but meeting them where they're at.
Oh, yeah.
So not everyone is ready for VR. I've had a lot of people say, this is so cool, but I wouldn't know what to do. I'm like, that's okay. But then when you mention augmented reality, they go, oh, this can be done on a phone or a tablet? Oh, right, on my phone all the time. They can identify it, they can see it, they can start getting into it.
Yeah,
and
you see it right on.
Then, of course, the first thing they say, the students can do this on their own. And then when they come talk to me, it's a much more productive conversation. I'm like, oh, there you go. So they're looking at how it could really impact and help them on their job. And if that can do that and more kids can find their right education pathway, perfect.
Wow. This is one of the best parts about working for Transfer. You can't see it at home. I'm wearing my Transfer t-shirt today. It's a big Transfer day. Every day is. But this is one of the best parts about working here is that this is a hopeful place to work. This is a place where we are focused on the mission and trying to help people and change lives. And it's been really great chat with both of you about how we're doing that. So yeah, thanks again, big time, both of you, for being here. It was great chat. And all of you at home, thanks so much for listening. And join us again next time on Upward with Transfer.